everybody ask. All right, if I'm too loud or too quiet, please let me know. My name is Eli Ganay. I'm the managing director of the library system. You're all here for the annual report workshop. For some reason, this workshop is our highest attendance workshop of the year. If someone could clue me into why you guys love this one so much, we'll try to recreate it as the other one.
Hi.
Are we okay with the webinar, Mike?
I think I haven't
So, before we get started here, does anyone know why we do annual reports?
You have to bring that up.
Because it has to. Funding purposes.
Saturday.
Yeah, the annual report is a requirement of the state. By law, if you want to be an official library of the state, you do need to do it. Our funding and your funding is dependent on it. If you refuse to do a report, the state would make sure you didn't get any money. The statistics that we give to the state are passed on to the federal government. So a lot of the annual report is tailored to meet the requirements of the state reporting to the federal government. So there are certain questions like the wireless counts that came up last year, where we thought, why the heck did they just throw that on at the last minute? It's because the feds had thrown it on, and so they needed to react and collect it. I hope you're all aware that you can go online and get statistics from the annual report going back to the 1990s, so you can see how your funding level, your circulation, the amount you pay in salaries. There's a lot of data you can get online for your library. That's all public information, so you can get for other libraries as well. If you want to know how to do that, let me know. I'm not going to go into that right now. So it's important to have accurate information just so you can see those trends, and because a lot of what we do is comparing ourselves to other libraries for benchmarking purposes. So it is important to be as accurate as possible. I do want to say though that don't let perfectionism get in the way of completion. You could spend hours and hours and hours on this, but we also have to take it with some grain of salt. The state does not have the kind of staff that are going to be looking at every single question you answer in detail. So don't stress too much about it. Just get it done to the best of your ability. Your deadline to submit to us this year is Friday, February 13th.
Friday the 13th. That's perfect.
Friday the 13th. So you don't have a ton of time. We then have a couple weeks where we have to ask you questions and get the reports to where we can then submit them to the state. The state then looks at them. And then they come back to us with questions if there's obvious inconsistencies. So there's a whole process there. This year, as you know, your book plan, your materials grant plan money is going to be dispersed to you. The first payment of that money is not going to go to you until you've submitted your annual report. When you submit your annual report, we're going to check the amount you spent on materials to make sure it meets your minimum requirements for the book plan. To get your book plan money, you all have a minimum amount of local funding you have to spend on books and other materials. We're going to use the annual report to make sure you met that minimum, and then we'll send you your first check. The login is collect.btol.com. Your password and username have not changed. If you are new or you've forgotten what yours is, just ask your consultant and they'll give it to you. We have several handouts. We've got most of them here. If you lose them, if you need more copies, you can get them online at dclslive.org. Go to For Librarians, click on Annual Reports. And real quick, the format of this presentation, we're going to start with the financial stuff first. So that's going to be starting with section 11. That is so that we make sure we have enough time to focus on that stuff. That can be where it gets kind of complicated. And also, so if you are a treasurer and you're only here for that part, you can leave after that. After we go over sections 11 and 12, the financial sections, we are going to take a break. When we come back, Mike is going to go over the spreadsheet that he's already sent in the process of sending you all, with all of your circulation and holdings information. He's going to show you how you can total that all up and use that information on your report. This year we have a panel up front, as you can see. We've asked system staff and a couple of our long-term directors to be up here to help answer questions. So as questions come up, please ask them. The panel and I will answer to the best of our ability. We have Mike Jones, who's our IT guy here at the system. Kathy Gustafson is our business office manager, so financial questions she'll try to answer. Lynn Kinnear is the director at Chautauqua. Tracy Hewitt is from the Buckside Library, the Hazeltine Library, and we have Valley, our youth services person, and Megan Disgrove is our digital services and training librarian. Before we go on, Lynn wanted an opportunity to introduce her successor. Lynn, could you introduce Scott for us?
I would love to. Scott Ekstrom will be taking my position as of March 1st. So he'll be starting to work with me next week. Be with me for the month of February. Scott Ekstrom.
Welcome, Scott. So please turn to break. Say hi to Scott. Lynn, what's your last day?
February 28th.
February 28th. All right, congratulations.
Thank you.
I think I've got to have that selected. All right, in case you don't know, these are your system consultants for annual report purposes. Those of you who had Kat as your consultant last year, I will now be your consultant this year. Any questions on that? All right, Dory. All right. Major changes this year before we get into the financial stuff. Conflict of interest. That is a policy that in the past has been a recommended policy. That is now a law. You have to have a conflict of interest policy, and it applies to all libraries. I've put that information on this in the past. If you cannot answer that you have a conflict of interest policy right now, I would suggest you do what you need to do to make sure you get one passed before you submit this. I would not recommend saying that you do not have one since it's law now. Question 10.4, trustee term length. That is a new question, so now you'll have to actually say what your term length is. In section 10, when you add your trustees, you add them one at a time. You'll add a record for each one. There are now new options for officers, so just be aware of that. And we no longer need phone numbers. In the past, we used to ask you to give us the phone numbers of every trustee and a local note. Don't do that anymore. We collect that information on the directory. So So if you need to update your phone numbers for your trustees, if you have new trustees, give them to us through the directory update form, please. Line 12.23, equipment is a brand new line. This is now where you will record items like copiers, fax machines, computers, printers, scanners, etc. According to the state's instructions, if an expense exceeds $10,000 or 5% of your budget, whichever is higher, indicate it in a state note how those funds were spent.
Is that for just newly purchased equipment?
That's right, yeah. 2014 expenditures. Okay. Yeah.
It's rentals and leases and maintenance, repairs.
Yeah, we'll go over that when we get there. And there's a new section 15, which is only on the Central Library annual report. That is where they report their central book aid and their central library development aid. So that's just the kind of only end. The rest of you will not have a section 15. Just some reminders. If the information you give us for 2014 differs by plus or minus 20% from 2013, we would like to know why. Please put that in a local note. Use local notes for all the notes except for the state edit checks. When you print, you can print a copy for your own records. We no longer need you to print one and send it to us. So just hit the submit button, but do not send us a paper copy. We cannot submit any reports to the state until all the libraries are done. So when we have just one library that is taking forever to submit, that holds up everyone. So please be aware of that. Oh, let me go back here. There's a couple of buttons here. While you're doing the report, there's a button that says show last year's answers. I would recommend, clicking on that. It's helpful to see what you did last year. That'll also let you know if you varied by that 20%. When you add a note, there's a tab for, I think I have a pointer. There's a tab for federal, a tab for state, and a tab for local. So when you want to just give a local note, just click on that local tab and make sure you save it. If you don't click save, it won't automatically save. This is the basic table of contents here, just to give you an overview of how the annual report is set up. Note that if you click on the number that's underlined for that particular line, it'll pull up the state's instructions. And they're pretty comprehensive, so you don't always have to be turning back to the instruction sheet. You can just click on it, it'll pop up and give you instructions. All right, let the fun begin. Sections 11 through 14. Reminder, this is a cash basis report. It's not an accrual basis. It's got to be cash basis. If you don't know what I'm talking about, contact Kathy. Does anyone have any questions on that right now? Yes. Okay, what is cash basis accrual? Kathy, you want to answer that one?
Well, when you think about cash basis, you really have to be very black and white. I mean, did you actually receive the cash and record it? Did you actually pay out the cash? So when you talk about accrual basis, you get into where you actually record transactions based upon something happening, but not necessarily when the cash was received or paid out. And that's where you get into, I don't know, everyone's background, where you say, like, I have an account payable, I have a debt, I have an account receivable, somebody owes me money. A cash basis is like you're really very focused on just the cash that you received and, deposited, and the cash that you dispersed, you wrote a check for. I'm assuming most people, have it structured with checks. But bigger businesses go more accrual basis, where they actually record the activities as they occur, because we know quite often the cash isn't always right there at the same time. There's time lags with things.
If I could give an example, you purchased a computer in 2013, but you didn't pay for it until 2014. Since the money went out in 2014, it should be on 2014 annual report.
Correct. Yeah. But you did receive the computer in 2013, you see what I mean? So at the end of 2013, you had a debt, but you, as you guys said, you did not pay cash for it. So from the state's perspective on their annual report, they want the expenditure in 2014 when the cash actually was dispersed from you. Does that make sense? Any other questions or thoughts?
Is that on the financial report that Mr.
Which one?
It's on the screen, is it on the report somewhere?
Which part of it?
The cash basis.
The cash basis part of it? It'll be in the instructions for the most part.
Tell them to turn to part 11 here. Eli.
Yeah, I will. Before I go on, let me real quick go over what's in our package here. You should all have more or less the same thing. The directors will have some information specific to finances and summer reading program. Everyone else should have the same thing. The green instructions here, for those of you on the webinar, it's the CCLS State Annual Report 2014 Guide. This is the system instructions, essentially. These are our instructions, the things that we get the most questions about, the things that we think are the most important. So if you have questions on something, go to the green instructions first. The white instructions are the state instructions to the annual report for public and association libraries. This has got more detail on each line. So if the green doesn't answer your question, go to white. For the financial section, parts 11 and 12, Megan has updated a very useful example sheet. This is the yellow one. It says annual report examples. This gives examples of income and expenses that goes in each line. So this is very, very helpful. So refer to this for the financial information. Okay, Megan has given you information on electronic materials, the white sheet with red on it. And the pink sheet will be very useful when you are counting your periodicals. We'll go over this more later, but this is a cheat sheet for counting periodicals. The directors will have information on the financial sections 11 and 12, prepared by Kathy Gustafson. The top part of the sheet gives you the line where you need to report exactly what we tell you. And then she also provides information below that that gives you some minimum numbers. So these are things that we know you've gotten a minimum of this amount, but you might have spent you might have gotten more money from elsewhere, or spent more money from elsewhere. So that's pretty clear on the sheet, but I'm happy if you have any questions about that. Valley has also sent you, or given you, the directors, the summer reading statistics. I believe you've received these already, but the lines have changed since then, the line numbers have changed.
It just tells you what line numbers have changed because they've rearranged the report. So it shows you what numbers have changed. You have to look at your own report to see what your statistics are. If you don't have your own report, I do have copies. I can send them to you.
And we printed out a copy of the annual report for each of you. So you should have a copy of your annual report with last year's figures as well on it. All right, did I hit all of the handouts? Oh, there is a little half sheet for helping you to double check your holdings. Round to the nearest dollar when you're giving dollar amounts. There's no cents in this report. No pun intended. We're all agreeing on that. Your starting balance for 2014 should be the same as your ending balance for 2013. For whatever reason, they don't automatically do that for you. So look at your ending balance from 2013, which should be on the annual report you have in front of you. And put that number as your starting balance for 2014. So the money you ended with last 2013 has got to be the money you started with last year. And also note that 11.26 must be the same amount as 12.41. If you can't get those two numbers to equal, then there will be, you made a mistake somewhere, and the state will want to know.
We have a question about those that are on the web, how are they going to get the handout?
Okay, so those that are on the web, we will be sending you a copy of all the handouts through the delivery, but you can also print them out online right now. Go to cclslive.org, go to Core Library, and then the annual report. All right, great. 11.1. This is under the operating funds receipts section. Local public funds. Local public funds are funds received from the town, village, city, school district. If you go to the voters directly, then you will check the box that says, I don't have it in front of me, what does the box say? Funds are received as a result of a public vote.
Public votes held in the reporting year or previous year.
Okay,
Previous
public,
year.
yeah. Check on the public vote held box only if you go straight to the voters for the money. So if your town or your city gives you funding from their own budget, and those trustees had to vote on it, that doesn't count as a public vote. Public vote means all of the residents vote. 11.3 to 11.7. These are monies that have come from the system member libraries. These are numbers that Kathy has given you, and you should not change these numbers. Don't add anything to them. Section line 11.9, other state aid. This is where you would report your bullet aid. You all receive bullet aid, so you should all have bullet aid on this line. If you receive construction money this year, it will go on this line. The construction grant money goes directly to you. That doesn't pass through us, so we don't know what you've received. Or any other state aid. Are there any questions on those lines?
Eli, where does the book sale money go? It doesn't go,
We will get to that soon. It's not,
Okay.
It doesn't go in the state.
okay.
It doesn't go in the state fund.
11.18, okay.
All right. 11.14 Gibson Endowment.
Oh, there we go.
This is money that's received as donations from private individuals. The endowment in this sense means foundation grants. Money you receive from foundation grants. If your library has its own endowment and you make money off that endowment and you take money out of it, don't put it on that one. 11.15 is fundraising for everything other than book sales. So the big sale you did, the auction, that would go in 11.15. 11.16, this is where if your library has investments of some sort, if it has an endowment, this is the line that any income from that will come in. And 11.17, library charges, this is where you put money from fines, overdue fines. If your patrons are charged when they make copies or they print something from the computer, it would go on this line. Any questions on any of those?
Yeah. If they gave the library money, it is not French Group account.
If your French group is a separate entity with its own 501c3, you don't report their income here, yeah. So it would just be, what money they gave to you. Any other questions? All right, 11.18, other receipts. These are any receipts that don't fit into another category. Please provide individual amounts and their sources and a local note for this deal. This is where you would put your book sale money
And E-rate.
and E-rate. Thank you. Any other examples of what would go here? Yeah, if you're not actually getting the cash in, you would report it as income.
Yeah.
Good question. Interest from the bank would go under income from investments. 11.16, interest on bank account. Good question. That's very minimal these days, but you might have to give up. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yes. Good question. E-rate, if you actually get it checked as a reimbursement, would go under 11.18 other receipts.
Yeah, the other sheet is good. Could you repeat the questions when someone asks it?
Oh, yeah, sorry. So the question, correction was where do you report E-rate? Yeah, thanks. E-rate would be reported on 11.18. Does anyone know why book sales are reported separately from fundraisers? Tax reasons? So, I don't know the answer. My assumption would be that, if you do too many book sales, you're supposed to be paying tax. 11.22 and 11.23, this is money that you've transferred in from another fund. So if your construction grant money was deposited in a capital fund and then transferred in, you would report it as a transfer rather than as state aid. Does that make sense? And 11.25, that's the balance of funds that was reported on 1239 in 2013's report. If you want to take a second and look at 1239 right now, look at the 2013 figure. That should be your 2014 figure for 11.25. In the annual report that you got printed out, the first column is 2014, the second column is 2013. And the 2013 column for line 12.39, that would be your ending balance from 2013. So you would put, it might have changed this year, so what is it? 12.4. So on 2014, it'll say 12.40. So 11.25 is your starting balance, right? So 11.25 here, that's your starting balance for 2014. And that should match your ending balance for 2013, which, which last year was, if you look at the 2013 report, it pays 12.39. So we're looking at the 2014 report, it's 12.4. Questions on any of that? It's already there. I'm hearing that some people that's already been done for this.
It's a confusing thing, because it's really giving us numbers in 2014, and this thing says 2014, which is this our report for 2013?
No, this is 2014 here, this column here is 2014, the first column. This is the 2013. So where, on the 2014 column, if you have not filled it out yet, unless it's something that the state has pre-filled for you, it'll just be a blank. But it helps to have 2013 numbers there to start with. This presentation is online right now,
Okay,
so you can easily print it out.
we can print it out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And this, you know, to be honest, this very closely mirrors the green sheet.
It does, but it's a lot more, it's longer.
Yeah, by all means, if you'd like to have a copy of it printed out, you can go online and print it out, or just ask me, I'll send you a copy. 12 points, okay, so that finished our, income. We're doing okay on time. Are there any more questions on income or anything the panel wants to reiterate that I've missed? You know what, one question I always have is, there's some income items where we want to have in a local note what's like an itemized list. Which lines do we like to have itemized list?
I have a list here of lines, we have a lot of lines that we would like to have you tell us specifically amounts. So lines 11.9, 11.10 through 11.13, 11.14, 11.15, 11.17, 11.18, 11.23, 12.4, 12.11.
Email it.
Just, yeah, you know what, that's easier. I'll just set it out on the listener. There are a lot. Okay.
If you're transferring the CD to a different bank, and you're putting the entire CD, interest earned and everything, and that's something you just report, correct? Because it never went into our operating.
The question is, if you have a CD, say it again, if you have a CD and it goes into,
Took it out of one bank, opened it into a new one with a different bank, it never went through operating, we took the.
oh, it's just changing names, that's all.
Yes.
Change, nothing.
Yeah, no, I would not report that, no. The question is if a CD moved from one bank to another, would it count as income or transfer? I think the answer is no. It's just changing banks. Megan, could you slowly just read us the income lines again? These are, Megan's going to read the lines that, in a local note, we'd like to have an itemized list of what's in your figure.
Okay, 11.9, 11.10, 11 point, oh, sorry, 11.10, 11.11, 11.12, 11.13, 11.14, 11.15, 11.17, 11.18, 11.23. That's it for part 11.
All right, so if, you know, obviously, if you, as you're doing this, if there's a line you're not sure, we want in a local note, the itemized numbers, faster. All right, so we're going to move on to disbursements now, section 12. So these are your expenditures. 12.1 to 12.2, salaries and wages paid from library funds. We want to know the gross amount before any deductions have been made. Report only wages for your actual employees, not money you gave to a consultant. So it would be, if a guide, report wages only for employees that you claim as employees in section number 6 or 6. 12.4, employee benefits. Report only the library share of social security, disability, health, etc. Don't include the amount that the employee pays here. This is just a report on the library disbursement. As a note, if in the past we've done your payroll and your payroll is now being done by Main Street, we are not sending you your information. That will be in reports that you get from Main Street. And I hope you've been tracking that somehow anyway. So hopefully you have those figures. If you're looking at the Main Street reports and you can't figure them out or you have questions, Kathy is on hand to help with that. If you go to Main Street directly, with questions, they'll answer basic questions, but if you ask too many, they will bill you for it. Right?
Yeah.
So be careful on that. I would ask Kathy first if you have questions about the Main Street report. Any questions on employee expenditures?
I'm sure everything.
For those of you on the webinar, we're having some technical difficulties. There's a weird sound coming through the speaker. All right, I'll keep going. For questions 12.6 through 12.9, read the definition for these categories. If you're not sure what these categories are, what's in them, read the definitions in part 2. Questions 12.10 through 12.11, capital expenditures from operating funds. So these are not capital expenditures from your capital account. These are capital expenditures that came out of your operating account. Generally, a capital expenditure is anything that you can depreciate. So the definition might vary from library to library, however you decide to do your depreciation. An example, if you've added a new roof or a new addition, obviously that would be a capital expense. Please detail these expenses in a local note. Do you want to shut it off? I can talk about it. Oh. Shut up.
Where's the therapy
Yeah, we lost everything.
So we're working here, obviously, but it's not feeding that. Okay, where's some of that? Yeah, I got a picture.
Yes. Now we have another one. That's the thing that I'm working. We have, you know, a whole department that helps the credit card that all our money. It all goes through them. In a way it could, if they give me a printout every year of what was spent on what, and how much money we took in from what. operating fund, at the end of the year, we have to clear the capital expenses, we have anything over $1,000. Just
All right,
come out of our
okay.
operating fund,
Well,
comes out of the deposit institution capital.
12.13, 12.14, repairs to buildings and building equipment. These are, repairs like, fixing a leaking roof, working on a broken furnace, etc. Detail your expenditures in a local note. Detail your expenditures in a local note. And unless your public funding body ordered you to spend the money on the capital item, or a repair, report expenditures in both of these categories in 11, and 14. So in other words, these are expenditures from operating funds that the town or village, whatever, they've given you, you've decided to spend this money on capital. Is there any questions to that?
Do we determine what's capital? Do we have a dollar limit or, I mean,
That's really, Kathy, do you want to address that? How do you define capital? It kind of varies, on your own definition.
Exactly. I mean, that's the issue, is it does vary based upon your own definition, because you do get into some judgment areas as far as the dollar amount and the useful life, how long you plan to use it for. So unfortunately, I cannot give you $1,000 as the magic number. As Eli had mentioned, it really depends upon threshold to say, like $1,000 comes to mind, that you might say all expenditures $1,000 or over we consider to be capital expenditures. It has, whatever we purchase has a useful life extending more than a year. Other ones, though, that are less than that, it's not worth it to take that expenditure and think about it as money you spent that benefits numerous years. It's not significant enough.
So it's our determination, there's no guidance.
Correct. I mean, but as Eli said too, when you have, there's some that very naturally, we repaired a roof, when you're talking about something major, that it's always when you start to get down the scope into the smaller purchases where there is more judgment. Like nowadays, you could buy a computer for under, back in the day, you spent a lot of money on a computer. It seemed like a major thing. Now, for example, computers aren't that expensive, so perhaps you might not view that as a capital expenditure within your realm of expenditures.
Any other questions?
Well, yeah, question, with regards to these local notes, is this the first year that you're asking them to itemize things? Or basically, I don't know, can I have access to my local notes?
Yes, we can make it happy.
Yeah, so, with the local notes, what we do is we print them, we clear them off before we submit them to the state.
For this year?
For every year.
Oh, you printed them off, you have them.
Right.
So hopefully your predecessor has printed your notes from previous years,
She
but
did.
if not, then we've
She
got.
already did.
Questions? Any other questions? Yeah. 12.16, other disbursements or operation and maintenance of buildings. This is where you would put utilities and building insurance. If you contract with someone for snow removal, it would go here. Again, please detail your expenditures all over the 12.18, office and library supplies. This is where you would put pens and paper and book pockets, that sort of thing.
Some replacement, major replacement of hot water.
Okay, the question from online is where would replacement of a hot water tank go? I guess the question is whether that would be under capital expenditures or repairs. Does the panel have any suggestions?
Oh, yeah. If it's new, yeah, 12.11. 12.11
For hot water
for
unit.
new.
If it's a brand new water tank replacing an old water tank, then it would be 12.11. If you're just repairing your current water tank, it would be 12 point, whatever.
24, other miscellaneous? Yes, 12.24 for maintenance, equipment repairs.
Did that answer the question from the web? So Megan, you think, okay, so a brand new hot water tank would be 12.11?
Correct.
12.11. Whenever you select. All right, 12.16, I just went over detailed expenditures in a local note, office and library supplies. Any questions on what would count as an office or library supply? Am I correct to say that we do not want them to list every pen and paper they want? Telecommunications, this is where you would put telephone costs and internet costs. Okay. All right. 12.20, binding expense. If you use the group purchase bindery, if you send the binding item to us, then I believe we let you know how much you spent through us, so Kathy will give you that figure. But you might have had binding done on your own, not going through us. We of course don't know about that, so you would add that in.
Anderson Lee has a question. Why does that come out of capital expenditures? I think we're still back in the hot water.
Oh, back on hot water tank. The question is why is a hot water tank considered a capital expenditure? Is that right?
New item.
So the answer is that
It's a new item.
It's a brand new item,
For the building.
and it's generally a hot water tank is a capital purchase.
Right, it depreciates.
It has a long life.
Got a long life. Hopefully it's got a long life. 12.21 postage and freight. This is where you would put stamps. Where you would put UPS. Any postal service stuff. Yep.
Where do utilities go?
Okay, utilities were under. Sorry, I'm not working again.
12.16.
12.16 is where you put utilities. Yeah. Okay, 12.22, this is where you would put professional and consultant fees. So if you hired an outside auditor or another consultant to come in, this is where you would list those people. Any other examples? What would go here?
Performers, presenters, anybody you paid, like that.
So,
Yeah.
bookkeeper, if you pay a bookkeeper, someone you pay but they're not on your staff, obviously. Independent contractors. 12.23, this is the brand new line. This is where you would put equipment costs. This is stuff that used to be on what line?
12.11.
So this is, this expense used to be part of 12.11 in last year's, in the 2013, pardon me, the 2013 reports. Equipment would have been in 12.11, now it's in its own line, 12.23. Correct. Yeah, there's no place on this report where you itemize anything on your depreciation.
There's a question, accounting fees are included in 12.22?
Yeah.
12.22, yes, that's where you would put an accounting fee. Any other questions about that?
Is that also where if your treasurer is paid for amount of years, is that the one?
You shouldn't be paying your treasurer.
version.
12.23, equipment, this is a brand new line again. This would be, new copiers, new fax machines, computers, et cetera. Again, the state's guidance on this is, whichever is higher, $10,000 or 5% of your library's budget.
This also includes leases for those kind of things. If you have a service contract for those kind of things, repairs
Yeah.
for those
And
items.
I misspoke, you would put any computers and fax machines on there. They want a state note about what it was if it's 10,000 or 5% of the library. Yeah.
If that new equipment was purchased with a grant, so does it go there?
Yes.
It does.
So the grant would come in
How does it
in
grant
section
come to you?
11, and then what you spent the grant on would go out in section 12.
Thank you.
12.24, your favorite line, miscellaneous. Ideally, you wouldn't have too much stuff in miscellaneous, but inevitably we do have miscellaneous things. Any costs that don't fit the above categories, costs of programming, membership dues, volunteer recognition fees, anything that doesn't fit well above. Anything you put in miscellaneous, we would like to see in a local note. 12.27 to 32, this is debt service questions. Most of you will not have this. Refer to the state's instructions on this and let us know if you have any specific questions. Transfers, this is when you make a deposit in your operating fund and then transfer it to another account. So you get a donation, $100 for future capital repairs, you deposit into your operating account, and then you transfer it into a capital account. You would put the transfer under section 12 transfers. Any questions on that?
There's a question, 12.24 also includes promotional costs? Question mark?
Question is 12.24, which is miscellaneous. Does it include promotional costs?
Publicity?
It would, yeah, publicity, it would, yeah. And then, this is sometimes hard to get your head around, but 12.41 should equal 11.26. If it doesn't, you made a mistake somewhere. 11.26 is your beginning balance plus your income plus any transfers in. That amount should equal your expenses, your transfers out, and the ending balance. If it doesn't, you made a mistake somewhere. Does that make sense? If you cannot get those two numbers to equal, contact your consultant or Kathy, and we'll try to figure out where something's gone wrong. Capital fund receipts, and then we're going to take a break. If you filed a capital fund report in 2013, you should file one in 2014. Dunkirk, Prendergast, Kennedy, Stockton, Maple, Shrewsbury, Olean, and Patterson all did. So we would expect that you would file one again in 2014. Correct?
And it may be just zeroed out.
If you did not have a capital fund and you do now, then go ahead and fill out the section. 13.2, all other revenue. Put grants from foundations, so then straight to capital here. State aid for construction, if you put it straight into capital, put it here. 13.8, any transfers from the operating fund would be here. So this is the money that you transferred out of your operating fund into your capital fund. You would put it on 13.8. And lines 13.13 and 14.12 must be the same. Are there any questions on that? This will end the financial section of today's program. So if you have any financial questions at all, ask them now, please. Yeah, shoot.
we have a grant that pays for 3 part-time people. And here's what I looked at, and I didn't see that in the order that they were making with that.
Oh, okay, so the question was if there's a grant that is intended just for, 3 part-time employees, you're asking where do you put that expense at, so the amount you pay the employees? So that would be with your, where you would report all of your employees. Even though it's funded by the grant, if they're employees of the library, you would report that as an employee salary. Yeah, that's pretty rare to get a grant for operations like that. Any other questions? Yeah. After consultant, they'll have it. Yeah. Or if you're consultant. Anything else? Okay, oh, one more?
Sure.
Oh, yeah, could you read the list, please, Megan, of section 12, lines that need local notes to detail the expenditures?
Okay. We need local notes for 12.4, 12.11, 12.14, 12.16, 12.22, 12.23, and 12.24. Thank you.
Why do you need those local notes? If it's something that needs to be reported, it shouldn't be in the report.
But we don't see, we just see the figure. We don't know what's included in that figure.
Why do you care what's included in that figure?
Because maybe it doesn't belong in that line, and we have to move it
To another line. That happens.
It does.
The question is why the local notes? The answer is really this is where we see a lot of mistakes historically. So seeing the local notes with the details helps us with accuracy. All right, we're going to take a 10-minute break. I've got it at 11:10 right now, so we'll come back and restart at 11:20. If you have any more specific questions that you didn't want to ask in front of the group, it would be a good time to ask them. Thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Figure out what
Some sort of.
like it was
Hi, Dad. Hi, nice to meet you. Oh, it's over there? Okay. Probably not, 'cause I usually sit up. Time materials, the new training, it takes time, but I can do it. I don't know, I know Cindy goes out and does a lot with the schools. Cindy's she's operating for 22 years in the business preschool. Anyway, yeah, just Frida has my email, so I'm just on your computer someplace, so, yeah, that'd be great. So you're working with Frida on calls? Okay, okay. Okay. Nice to meet you too. Hey, how's it going? Good, I was gonna stop. Local money, your own money. Other would be like CDs, videos, you know, material No, I don't think that I think they do because it's now a material substitute. Because if you can buy it through us, then it would count. So if you can buy it, if you send a Chris or whoever sends Chris an order that has CDs or videos, Midwest Coast can buy through us. The orders come through us. So, you know, that kind of stuff. That's all changing a little bit, but you know, it's material that you will circulate.
Why we couldn't count.
It used to be books. It used to be a book budget, but now it's a material budget. Because so much of our materials are not.
All right, we're changing, yeah, I am. All right, yeah, okay. Our figure's very low there, and our goal is to put that up.
Yeah.
We were bare bones last year, we finished the bare bones.
Yeah, a lot of, and I'm not sure what, you know, each library, their little percentage is different because of what their budget is and how much. Materials plan the money they get.
Okay.
So it's whatever that percentage is. I'm not sure, but yes, it is, yeah. I will double check on that to make sure, but I'm pretty sure that's right because I know out of the materials plan last year, people would give Megan money to buy ebooks.
Right,
So,
right.
and I know audiobooks have been ordered through the
I'm sure we kind of, the biggest thing was understanding during the meeting about
the videos and videos.
Yeah, so that was great.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. And you'll just get back to Rita on that?
Yes.
Oh, thank you, Val.
Let me write that down real quick.
I think the two places you've got locksmith and locksmith here, and then locksmith here. Yeah. We had to have. Okay, let's see. Here.
I would say 14. Yeah, I would say that was 14. Yeah.
Okay, and then the other thing that we get to share with the subscription, we bought a
Okay, that would go under this. Yeah. Because they're talking about, you know, things other than movies.
right. And then what about all those
Add that to the yeah, that would be like furniture. So that would go, I would say, in here. Right. Use the bill. One that Yeah, see, carpet and tile would be in there, bookshelves would be in there, so. They're built in. I would say 11, yeah, I would say 11. Those are repairs, those are maintenance. Yeah, I think 11 is where it would go. There's always, every year there's always one or two things that come up and go, oh, okay, yeah, here, that'll go here. Yeah. Yeah, it's good stuff.
We have green, bigger than that one, but it's not on the.
The challenge? Yeah.
Glad to hear that.
Yeah.
You've got carpet and tile. Okay, then the scratch got
I have a question, and I have to discuss where we can stay.
Yeah.
We were just sort of talking about how high emotion well. So your grandfather
Right.
So
in Buffalo.
Yeah.
More hours. When you're there and they're keeping,
Sometimes I do and sometimes I don't. I have an assistant who's paid, so she's there sometime between 15 and 20 hours a week.
when you're there.
Yeah, when I'm there. And then sometimes she'll work evenings when I'm not there, or Saturday morning when I'm not there. Yeah. Oh. You should have some volunteers. Never overlap.
No, but I always so I'm just wondering what the library, when the manager director is there, are they tied to them? You're saying 15 hours, you have someone that okay, that
Yeah,
sort of helps me.
you should have a volunteer, somebody, when you're trying to get stuff done, say, could you please run the duck for me,
Right.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Not these, but these were sure. Okay, all right. Yes. No, I'm buying from other places. Right, well, we are buying from other places. So I really got to stop the streets and buy those people. She must know I'm going to do it.
On the book actually right at 12, so maybe disappear.
Okay.